So in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to use an if statement to make a decision about a value in a variable to decide whether you want to do some of the code or not. You can decide to run some of the code based on a certain value or run some other code based on another value. And so these are called decision statements, and the if statement is the most common kind of decision statement you can have. So let's just take a look at this code. This is without an if statement. So this is just, I have all the code I want to run in the main function that I've defined, and I call the main function down here. So it should run. Now, just to go over it, I use an input statement to have the user enter their age. So if they enter the age of 55, remember that even though they enter all numbers, this won't be seen as a number. Anything that comes back from an input is automatically seen as string or string text. And so I want to convert that into be a true number. So I say I put that string in the int function and I convert it to be an integer and store that integer value in another variable called age underscore int. Down here, I add 10 to age and store it in a variable called new age. I'm assuming that everybody's lying about their age and I'm adding 10 to it. So then I create a message that says, you say you are age, whatever they entered, but I bet you are new age, the one I added 10. And then we print it out. So, okay, so let's just run this and see it work. So, what is your age? I'll put 55. It says that you say you're 55, but I bet you're 65. Okay, fair enough. So, now we want to make a decision. We want to do something different. I really only want to assume they're lying if they're over 40. Okay, so I'll go over here and I'm going to put if, and I'm going to say if age int is greater than 40. And I put a colon there. Now I want it to do something. So if this is known as an expression or a conditional expression, and it's used, it needs to be evaluated. And so it'll look at the data and age int and say, is that greater than 40? If it is, then this expression evaluates to be true. If the age they entered was less than 40, this expression evaluates to be false. If I'd entered 22, 22 greater than 40? No, it is not. So it'll be false. So what does the if statement do based on whether it's true or false? Well, it does different code. So I'm going to say print right now, just to kind of keep this simple, print it's over 40. Okay, we're going to just do that much and just leave it like that for now. We're going to get a little bit better here in a minute, but for right now, we'll just do it. I just want to see if I get that message or not. Okay, so I'm going to run it. I run, what's your age? I'll put 55. It's it over 40. Okay, I meant to say it is over 40. It, it is over 40. Okay, so we would get that. Now, what if I run this again with just lower age, 22? It says you say you're 22, but I bet you're 32. So we never ran that line, it is over 40. So this evaluated to false. And when something's false, it just skips to the end of the if, and it doesn't do any code that's underneath it. If this is true, it does the code that's indented underneath it. Now you see here, I just have one line of code, but I could have two or three or hundreds if I needed to. It doesn't matter. Anything that's indented under the if statement, if the expression evaluates to true, it runs that. It does all that code. So say, well, what if it's false? Well, remember I put in 22 before and I saw nothing. So this is where we can introduce something else called the else clause of the if statements. And you just say the keyword else, and you put a colon there as well. And now we would put another print statement here. Okay. And I'm going to say it is not over 40. Okay, so if I enter 22, 22 greater than 40? No, that's false. So the false thing, instead of dropping down past the if statement, it'll do whatever's in the else clause instead. So that's good. I'm going to save that code, then I'll run it, and we'll see what happens. So I'll go back to 55. That's what we had before. It is over 40, like we had. And now I'll do it again, but this time with a different age. I'll say 22, and it says it is not over 40. But I still get this message that says you are 32. Okay? So that was nice to prove to us that the code works, to check to see if they're over 40 or not, but that's not really what we want to display. So if they're over 40, we want to display this whole message. Okay? We want to make the message, I bet you're over there. But if they're not over 40, then we want just to not display that at all. We'll get rid of this last part and just say you are that age, and then just leave it at that. Okay, and I won't put the I bet you're lying here stuff. So now we'll go ahead and save that, and we'll run it this way. Run. What's your age? 55. You say you're 55, but I bet you're over. Okay, now we'll do it again with 22. Run. What's your age? 22. And it just says you say you are 22. So we did not do this code. We did this code. So you get the idea. The if statement conditional expression is evaluated. If it's true, it does all the code underneath here. If it's not true, it'll either go past the end of the if statement if there's no else. But if there's an else clause, if it's not true, or we often say if this is false, it'll do whatever code is indented underneath the else. All right, so that ends a very short introduction to an if and an if-else statement, and we'll get a little more complicated as we go along.